so fast.
New on the night team, a trip to the Super Bowl, a dream come true for a local man battling stage 4 cancer. And Super Sunday Showdown wouldn't be complete now, would it, without Deflategate, what the NFL is now saying about its investigation. But we start with a weather alert. A look at the radar shows a winter storm moving in. Good evening, everyone. I'm Brian Crandall. Patrice and Dan are off tonight. Looks like snow on the way, and Storm Team 10's RJ Heim is here with a look at what we can expect. Do we need the shovels, RJ?
Well, it depends on where you live.
Well, ahead of the Super Sunday Showdown, a cloud of suspicion over Foxborough and the underinflated footballs used by the New England Patriots for part of their last game last weekend. We have Team 10 coverage tonight, from how players on both teams are responding to the scandal to a man's dying wish to see the Patriots play in the Super Bowl. But first, today the NFL finally said a little bit more about its investigation. Now, the NFL is not saying when it will finish the investigation, whether that will be before or after the Super Bowl. And by the way, there is a game being played next Sunday. Sports Team 10's Jeff Kolb has reaction from Patriots players today, including from the big man, Rob Gronkowski, on some harsh words. Jeff, interesting day, I'm sure, at Gillette Stadium. All right, thanks, Jeff. Now, to access denied, a man hired by the NFL for the Super Bowl had his credentials revoked almost immediately. It turns out Russ Knight was so excited when he got the credentials, he went straight to social media. And that's where his problems began. Knight posted this Facebook photo showing himself with his new badge for the big game. But one of the rules is that you cannot post any pictures of the passes on the internet. It's even written on the back of the badge. Well, the reason? A security precaution to keep people from making fake badges. Now, Frank's final wish. A fan with cancer who's never gotten to see his team play is heading to Arizona. And the person who started raising the money to send him there cheers for a different team. The night team's Olivia Fecto continues our Team 10 coverage from Bellingham tonight.
NBC 10 News Night Team.
A touching story. NBC 10 is your home for Super Bowl 49. We have a whole crew heading out to Arizona for Super Sunday. Starting next week, watch for Team 10 coverage from Frank Carpano, Joe Kayada, Tony Gugliotta, and Molly O'Brien. Here on NBC 10, online, of course, turn to 10.com, and on social media. Let's just hope they don't put pictures of their badges there. And now the countdown is on. Just 9 more days. Kickoff is at 6:30 next Sunday, February 1st, right here on NBC 10. New details about a murder investigation in New Bedford. Tonight, we're hearing from the victim's mother. 36-year-old Javon Brown owned the Metro PCS store on Coggeshall Street. Around 12:30 yesterday afternoon, someone shot him there. Brown was taken to St. Luke's Hospital, where he later died. NBC 10's Allison Bologna went to his home today in Dartmouth. That's where she found his mother, who had come up from New York.
Any idea who'd want to hurt him?
No idea at all.
Are police helping you?
Yes, they are.
They've been cooperative?
Yep.
Any leads at all so far?
Not that I know of, because he didn't have any cameras set up in the store.
Anyone with information is asked to contact police. Well, town officials in Blackstone have placed a lien on the property where the bodies of 3 infants were found a few months ago. The home has since been demolished. Now, if the owner of the property, Christina Rivera, fails to pay $46,000 for the cost of the demolition, the town will take ownership of the property. The woman who was living in the home, Erica Murray, is facing murder charges in the deaths of 2 of the babies. The man accused of setting 2 fires in a Newport Walmart learns his punishment. 59-year-old George Reddick was sentenced to serve 5 years behind bars. He pleaded no contest to first-degree arson. Authorities say Reddick set 2 fires last February to cover up his shoplifting. The surgeon who was shot and killed at a Boston hospital earlier this week is now laid to rest. A funeral service for Michael Davidson was held earlier today. Friends and family paid their respects at a temple in Wellesley. Davidson leaves behind a pregnant wife and 3 children. Police say he was shot and killed by the son of a patient who died. The suspect then killed himself. Well, the lawyers for Boston bombing suspect Dzhokhar Tsarnaev are defending their actions tonight. Paperwork they submitted for their 3rd request to move the trial out of state included comments from prospective jurors. Now, those comments said that those prospective jurors believe Tsarnaev is guilty and should receive the death penalty. The judge in the case called the lawyers' move, quote, improper, and he ordered the documents sealed. But Tsarnaev's lawyers say the excerpts did not identify the jurors in any way. And opening statements are expected to begin Tuesday in the murder trial against former Patriots player Aaron Hernandez. There are now 53 prospective jurors, from which the court will now try to seat 18 of them. On Monday, the judge is expected to ask the potential jurors if they would have trouble being fair and impartial. After that, the prosecutors and the defense can use their right to excuse a juror for any reason. We spoke with one of those excused jurors outside the court today.
I would have to be truthful about that. I would say that I think most people probably would have, the evidence that was presented by the media. I felt that I could have been impartial listening, to all the evidence. I am definitely a proponent of, innocent until proven guilty.
And the trial could last as long as 3 months. NBC 10 will have complete coverage of the Hernandez murder trial. Adam Bagney and I will both be at the courthouse each day with live reports once the testimony begins. And we're now past the deadline set by ISIS militants for the Japanese government to pay a ransom. Earlier this week, the terrorist organization released a video threatening to kill 2 Japanese citizens if their government didn't pay $200 million. The status of efforts to free the men is unclear. Japan's prime minister has been meeting with his National Security Council on the crisis. Well, thousands of protesters have been demonstrating across Yemen in the Middle East. Some are in support of the Shiite rebels who seized the capital, and others, though, are demanding the country's south secede from the country. This comes after the nation's president stepped down yesterday amid pressure from the rebels. The group is demanding a bigger share of power. Coverage you trust continues new at 11, suspected sneaker thieves. How a good Samaritan saved a little boy from 4 guys who were armed with a gun. The all-day kindergarten, the plan to make it happen in every Rhode Island community. At Celebrity Mansion, the New England home with a Hollywood connection that can be yours for a hefty price tag, that is. New on the night team, 4 people arrested in Brockton after police say they tried to rob a child of his sneakers and then pointed a gun at a man who tried to stop them. 2 of the suspects are these men right here. 2 17-year-olds were also arrested and charged. The Good Samaritan told officers he saw the attempted robbery and told the 7-year-old boy to run away. That's when police say one of the suspects pulled out a gun. The 4 suspects then ran away. Officers later arrived and caught them. Well, new tonight, the cost of charter schools in Rhode Island. There's concern about the state's formula for funding the public school systems. A special commission of lawmakers met this afternoon at the State House. Some say having 2 kinds of schools in a district creates redundancies by doubling up principals, teachers, and nurses.
And if one of those children decides to leave that school and go about 100 yards down the street, our town loses thousands of dollars.
Now, others say the charter schools give options to parents and students. The commission looked at charter school tuition payments and the cost differences when a child leaves public schools for a charter school. And a Rhode Island lawmaker is introducing a bill to make full-day kindergarten a reality in every city and town. The legislation would accelerate state funds to get the process started sooner. Officials say the early transition cost could cost the state an additional $3 million in the first year and less in later years. Municipalities would pay part of the expenses. There are 7 districts that do not offer full-day kindergarten to all students. Well, new on the night team, there's a new man leading the organization trying to bring the Olympics to Boston. He is former Massachusetts Transportation Secretary Richard Davey. Now, he succeeds Dan O'Connell as CEO for Boston 2024. O'Connell led the group during the initial process that saw Boston beat out several other American cities. The chairman of Boston 2024 says Davey was chosen because of his knowledge of complex transportation systems and his reputation for smart, innovative leadership. The International Olympic Committee is slated to pick a host city for the Games in 2 years. Also new at 11, the dates for the 2016 Democratic National Convention are now set. Now, while we don't know where it will happen, we do know it will be held the week of July 25th in 2016. That date is just 1 week after the Republican convention in Cleveland. The Democratic committee is still negotiating where its convention will be held. Among the considered locations, New York, Philadelphia, and Columbus, Ohio. New tonight, MasterCard is planning to lift the ban on U.S. credit card transactions in Cuba. The changes begin in March. MasterCard is the first credit card company to unblock transactions in Cuba. The announcement comes just 1 month after President Obama announced plans to restore normal diplomatic relations with the island nations. New at 11, here's your chance to own a New England mansion once owned by actor Mel Gibson. Well, you might have a chance. The estate in Greenwich, Connecticut was bought by Gibson in 1994 and sold in 2010. Now the home is on the market again, but it's not cheap, and that's an understatement. The cost is $31.5 million. The mansion is 16,000 square feet, has 10 bathrooms, and get this, 15 bedrooms. There's also a horse stable and a life-size outdoor chess set so you can play, well, probably not this weekend. RJ Hyman's here with the latest forecast. Something we haven't been talking a lot about this winter: snow, RJ.